folks, how's it going? This is Iron Seagull here, back with another discussion video. Because The Sims 4 was announced exactly 5 years ago today, so I thought I'd just do a little video discussing my memories about that, and just kind of recapping how this all went down. When The Sims 4 was announced, The Sims 3 was still going strong. We just received University Life a couple of months ago, and we already knew about both Island Paradise and a future themed expansion pack that had yet to be given its proper name, Into the Future. There were already some rumors circulating that Sims 4 was well underway. Many people were eager to hear more about it. Personally, at the time, I didn't feel quite ready for news about The Sims 4 yet, as we had only just got seasons for Sims 3 about half a year ago, which, in my opinion, finally turned the game from a good one into a great one. I was willing to still focus on Sims 3 for the rest of the year. But on May 6, 2013, there was a private call between producer Rachel Franklin and many well-known social media influencers within the Sims community. They wanted to put the fans first by giving us the scoop on the next big installment before the mainstream press even knew about it. In my opinion, that was a great move, and I'm glad they did that. Maxis revealed very little at the time, saying the focus would be put more on the Sims themselves. And in light of the huge controversy surrounding the recently released SimCity game, they made sure to emphasize that this is a single-player offline experience. The only other thing they showed at the time was this picture, where you have 3 Sims. The 2 on the left, I think, are Angela Pleasant and Daniel Pleasant, and then, of course, Bella Goth on the right. So, if I'm correct about the 2 Sims on the left, it's a bit interesting that they didn't make it into the final game. But, of course, Bella Goth had to. There probably would have been riots if she didn't. And, yeah, that already got me pretty excited, because even with The Sims 3, at the time, I was just like, yeah, I don't really like the look of The Sims too much. I like The Sims 2 Sims better. And this was kind of promising. It kind of reminded me, like, oh, it was like, what if The Sims 2 was made in the modern day? And of course, the Sims community was really buzzing about it, and just having all sorts of ideas about where this game could go. There was definitely a lot more hope at that time compared to now, because we really knew nothing about the game other than what I mentioned. We had no idea that open world and creative style would be cut, and that toddlers would not be included with the initial release, or things like pools and ghosts. Thankfully, we did get those things fairly quickly, but yeah, it was quite a while before what I've seen some people call the summer of no's, where we learned there's like no pools, no toddlers, no open world, no cars, etc., etc. But yeah, at that specific time when the game was announced, it was just like, oh, okay, we're about to start all over again, and we know nothing about it, but it looks like, hey, it could be pretty inspired by The Sims 2, and I do remember on the forums, a lot of people were asking for that, for The Sims 4 to be more like The Sims 2 in terms of style and how the Sims act and stuff like that. So yeah, it was good that at least that panned out kind of well in my opinion. Like, The Sims, I do like the look of so much better than The Sims 3. I've made some of my Sims from my Sims 3 Let's Plays in The Sims 4, and every single time I've loved their Sims 4 version so much better than their original Sims 3 counterparts. And yeah, the whole look of the game does feel kind of like The Sims 2 HD. It's kind of crazy to me that it's already been 5 years since that time. Half a decade. Are you feeling old yet? Because I definitely am. Doesn't feel like 5 years, but then again, I think it's because I think more about the actual launch of The Sims 4 rather than the announcement, because The Sims 4 came out on September 2nd, 2014, so it's actually about 3.5 years since the game came out, since, yeah, September is much later in the year. And it's quite an interesting time right now, to say the least. It's been quite dead on the news front, and, well, if I had made this video right after Jungle Adventure released, I'd be like, yeah, It's doing great right now. The Sims 4 is doing awesome. We got some really great packs recently, and I have high hopes for the future. And now, it took one really poorly executed stuff pack that changed my perspective. The only real news we have about the future of The Sims 4 is that the next Sims 4 experience will be playable at EA Play in June. And that's it. It's pretty vague. It actually, in a way, kind of reminds me of the initial announcement of The Sims 4, because it doesn't give away much. They could have maybe said expansion pack or something like that, and well, maybe it's not an expansion pack. Maybe it is like some sort of actual experience, but I don't know. I'm really hoping that it will be seasons, because as I said earlier in the video, Seasons for The Sims 3 was a real game changer for me. It made the game from a good one into a great one, and I was just so tired of how there was no weather in The Sims 3, and yeah, Seasons finally came along just as I was losing hope for it. It's interesting, having been a simmer for such a long time, I've experienced so much of its history as it's happened, and it's The Sims 3 where I remember things really started to become quite an emotional roller coaster ride for me. Because, yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people look back on The Sims 3 quite fondly now, but at the time, there were some really rough lows and some pretty high highs, just like with The Sims 4 right now, so yeah. If The Sims 5 does happen, I really hope things will go better, but I'm not getting my expectations too high. But we'll just have to wait and see. If the next Sims 4 experience does end up being an expansion pack, then I could imagine it being announced a week or two ahead of time, so maybe even in May we'll already know what's going on. But I hope you enjoyed this little retrospective with me and my memories of how The Sims 4 was initially announced, and let me know in the comment section below if you were around during that time and what you remember of that. And as a quick side note, I did upload another video earlier today where I personally ranked the stuff packs from worst to best, so if you haven't checked that out already, feel free to go and watch it. It's quite a long one, so maybe bring some popcorn and ice cream as well. And be sure to leave a like or a comment or even subscribe, because it lets me know that you like my channel, my videos, and it helps you keep up to date more easily with the latest content from me. I do videos on The Sims, Sonic the Hedgehog, and more, so I'll talk to you all later, and have a great day. Thanks for watching!